Hi, everyone. Thanks once again for joining us on one of our Meet the Vendor webinar series. And today we've got Daryl from Comalatech, who's going to tell us about Comalatech's range of products, particularly around publishing, which, obviously very useful. Who doesn't need to publish things? And potentially there's some type of rigor around the process of the documents that are published. So, yeah, Daryl, thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you, Michael. Thanks for having Comalatech and myself here today. We really do appreciate your time and everyone else's time as well. We're really excited to bring you a little bit more about Comalatech and our apps on the marketplace. Mainly Comala Document Management, Comala Publishing, and Read Confirmation, and how they work with Confluence.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, well, yeah, tell us about them because, a lot of organizations publish documents. In fact, you'd have to say that every organization publishes documents to some extent. So what does Comalatech see as the most important thing around document publication?
Yeah, well, great question. Well, let me just start from from our beginning. Comalatech has always been an app vendor, and we've been in the Atlassian ecosystem for 13 years now, and our flagship product is Comala Document Management. But we have a wide range of other products as well that help workforces out there within Confluence and both Jira as well. But again, as I mentioned, our flagship product is Comala Document Management, and really what it does at the essence is it really just adds processing control to your Confluence pages. All of us love how great Confluence collaborates and how you can share that collaboration with your whole team members. But there's instances where you need a little bit more processing control to be able to wait and get those reviews and approvals done until it's shared with your colleagues and everyone in the company as well. So that's where what really Comala Document Management it was designed for. And we have so many different use cases for it as well. Within the last 13 years, Comala Document Management has gained we're at about over 5,000 customers now, and close to over 10 million users. And within that time period, we've garnered a lot of different use cases for the app itself. A lot of the use cases that we see today are knowledge bases, companies using it for creating manuals, creating wikis, obviously, but most recently with COVID now, a lot of companies are using it for QMS and compliance, for FDA compliance, ISO compliance, policies and procedures as well. So there's a lot of different use cases for Comala Document Management, and it's been great to see the growth in it as well. I've been here now almost close to 6 years, and it's been such a huge growth with the app itself. So it's really exciting to see.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing because, in the Atlassian world, I guess the process-orientated people, that we get used to having a process and a workflow that we can work towards. And if it's a work item, it makes sense to have a workflow. But it's like, why have a workflow on a document? So,
exactly.
so let's talk maybe a little bit about some of those use cases. So I guess when we're talking with legal data or data that's got to be reviewed, so we want to publish it, but it has to be reviewed by an expert before the business is comfortable being able to publish it to all our customers and clients, for example.
Oh, very true, very true. And that process right now in Confluence just isn't there, and what people are looking for and what our customers are looking for is just a simple way to go in, assign the people that need to review it, let them review it. And you may have groups and individuals review it, or you may say, well, no, actually, I just need one individual to review it. And that's the really nice thing about Comala Document Management, is that the flexibility is all in your fingertips. You have the ability to make it as simple as you want, or as configurable as you want as well. And with the ability to go in and, again, with a few clicks, have the page being reviewed, approved, and now published to not only internal but external customers as well.
Yeah. So and so for businesses have got legal requirements. It's interesting. Some of our clients, they're in the health field, and they want to publish documents in relation to health, and it has to be let's say double checked before it's published.
Exactly. No, exactly. And today I want to really bring all these different use cases to you, and really a big one that we see going forward in even in legal and with the health region is creating these manuals. They could be internal manuals, they could be external manuals. Knowledge base is a big key thing. Just having that internal area to be able to create your draft content, and then once you're ready, publish it over to your published space, so your colleagues and your external staff can see it when it's all published and looks nice as well. So that's the real power that Comalatech Document Management and the solution will provide for you.
All right. Well, would you like to show us some of how it works?
Sure, for sure. I'd love to. So I'll start with a little presentation, and then we kind of went over a lot of this, but I'll just go through the presentation, and then I'll move right into the app itself. So I'm just going to share out my desktop, and just let me know when you can see that.
Oh, Vancouver looks nice. I haven't been there.
I'll show that again for you. Yeah. So again, my name's Daryl, folks. I like I mentioned, I've been here for close to 6 years now. I'm now I started just doing support, and now I'm in as a sales manager here at Comalatech. And that's we have with Comalatech, we have over 40 people in our organization now, all around the globe. Our main offices are here in North America, in Vancouver, and in Spain, and actually Bilbao, Spain. And that's where our two key offices are to help support all our great customers around the world. A little bit about document management, as I mentioned earlier. Really, at the essence, what Comalatech Document Management does is it takes that collaborated content that you have, it adds a review process to it, and goes through the life cycle of that review process. And once it's approved, it's then published out to your internal or external customers. So that's at the essence what it really does. Comalatech Document Management can be found both in all three flavors. So it can be found in cloud, server, and in data center. Now, with server being being end of life, come in 2024. Really, cloud and data center are the two flavors that we are really seeing a big push in right now. Cloud, is great, and we really do love how cloud is being adopted by a lot of people out in the ecosystem now. So it's a big push for us as well too.
So certainly, if I could just jump in on that, certainly a big push for Atlassian to really make their cloud product their flagship product, as opposed to the other side. Do you guys have any feature disparity between your cloud and server product?
Great question. Well, as I mentioned earlier, Michael, Comalatech Document Management started in server and data center 13 years ago. And in that time, we've created a lot of features over that 13 years. And now, fast forward, 10 years, 12 years now. And now with the push with Atlassian going to cloud, we actually adopted cloud back in 2014 with some of our products, actually. And I think you mentioned one of the good ones, Canvas for Jira. That was our original cloud app that we put out to folks. And then that led to Comalatech Document Management. And so we do have a feature parity right now between the two apps, just because of the longevity that server was out there for. but we are spending a lot of time right now coming out with features almost every month, new features to cloud to bring that gap closer between the two apps. The two flavors of server or data center and cloud. And a lot of our features may be a little different because cloud is just designed a little differently. But at the end of the day, we always ask our customers, how should we bring this to the cloud? And we love that feedback interaction that we have with all their customers as well.
Yeah, great.
So that kind of brings me to the end there to that presentation. So I'm just going to jump in real quick into the app. So this is my cloud infrastructure, and
I think we can see Vancouver, and I have to say it looks so nice.
Thanks. Yeah, no, I grew up here, born and raised in Vancouver, so I've seen it grow. This was just a little tiny little city, and then now it's really grown to, this is our downtown core, and then these mountains are all ski hills in the winter, and then in the summer people go out and go hiking in there and stuff like that. So that's kind of what it looks like right now, because summer is right around the corner for us here. Actually, it's actually on Sunday for us, so that's why you see all the nice boats out there. But we're not here to talk about Vancouver, even though I could talk about Vancouver all day. Again, this is just one of my Confluence instances that I have in the cloud. And you'll notice that I have a bunch of pages in the space as well. And the space itself, what's really nice is that really Comalatech Document Management doesn't care what type of content you create. It could be anything from engineering documentation. It could be just regular Wikidoc content, whatever you want to add to your spaces. Again, and you'll hear this you'll hear this over and over again. But what we add is simple process control. And so typically in production, no, actually not typically, what we always recommend in production is to have Comalatech Document Management enabled at the space level. And really what that does is when it's enabled at the space level, it automatically adds a workflow process to every page that's existing and any new page that gets created. So people don't have to fumble around of not knowing, does this have a workflow or not? Does it have a process to it or not? Nope, every page has it. And that's the nice thing about this. So when I go to a page, the first thing you'll see is that you'll notice that there's a byline that's placed right on the page itself. And in this case, this page is already approved. And so people are going to see this page and see that, hey, that's great. This page is approved. I can see that. I know that this is my approved content. What's nice is what happens when someone edits it? What happens when someone creates a new page? And so I'm going to go ahead and create a new update here. And I'm just going to change that and say new update. And I'll publish that. You'll notice as soon as I publish this, and publishing is a really interesting term that Confluence uses, because you're not necessarily publishing the content. What you're doing is you're sharing the content, right? And so and you're updating the content, and so it's a real interesting one here. What's going on here?
Well, it's as interesting as to create an issue. Is it an issue?
Yeah.
I don't
That is true. Yeah. And so, sorry, I'm just waiting for this to refresh here. So once it goes through and it updates, sorry, that's strange. It's not refreshing, so just give me a sec here. Let me do that publish again.
Maybe it was listening to you and said, okay, you don't want me to publish, so it went.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, that's kind of strange. So let me just try another page here. Okay. So on this page here, this is just a typical page that we would use. And you'll notice here that the workflow, once it's edited, it goes into a phase or state that you've adopted for your document management. Now, the nice thing about Comalatech Document Management is that we actually provide 3 working templates for our customers. And they're called the basic approval workflow, the content expiry workflow, and the QMS workflow. And the QMS workflow is great for those that are going through any type of compliance. But we'll look at the basic approval workflow. So you'll notice here that when the looks like we're having a bit of technical issues here.
I was going to say I've got internet issues at the moment. Thanks, NBN. The technician's coming later today, but yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
That's interesting what you're saying on the QMS. So I'm seeing a little bit more of that.
So the QMS workflow, basically what it does, it allows our customers to go through the approval process, but and add your reviewers and your approvers that you need to add to it. But more importantly, what it does is once the content has been published, what it will do is it will automatically add an expiry date to it.
Yeah.
So let's say, for example, I want to put in a 3-month expiry period or a 6-month expiry period for that page. What it will do is it will automatically transition from my published state to my, let's call it, needs review state. And it will inform the author that, hey, this page has expired. You need to go in and reapprove this and make sure it's up to standards again.
Yeah.
So that's the real nice thing about again, going through that QMS workflow. Let me kill my browser actually and try doing this again. Give me 1 second here. Let me try this one last time.
Something else I've been asked about in relation to QMS is how do we identify who needs to reread an article or a document now that it's been republished? So let's say, for example, we've got a complex process and procedure. We decide to change page number 83, paragraph 2. And we know who needs to be informed. So we know which groups need to know about this particular document. And what I want to do is actually get some type of confirmation that that group has been communicated to, and I wanted to get a confirmation that they've read the document.
Oh, that's a great point. So you'll notice that we also have an app called Read Confirmations. And so what Read Confirmations will do is it will actually add the ability to see who's actually read the content as well. So now that it's gone through its approval process, that's great and dandy, but now I need to know who's actually read that information.
Yeah.
And so you can add that to your pages, and you can actually click on see who's actually read that. And you'll see that you can go through there and see, you can add individuals or groups. And if I was to add, for example, I have a experts group, and I need to make sure that the experts group has read that, I can add that in. And now everyone in the experts group will be added, and they would then be informed via email that they've been assigned to read this content. And so there's an email that will come to that individual. Let's just wait to see if I receive that email. But the individuals will receive an email to let them know that they've been assigned to read the content, and then they'll go in. There's a link on that email that will take them directly into Confluence to that direct page, and they'll just simply go ahead and click on the stuff happening. But they'll go in and basically go in and just click on confirmed reading of that page.
That's good. That's exactly what we need.
Yeah, exactly. And again, it's you can add it to certain pages. You don't have to add it to all pages, and that's the real nice thing about it. Because some pages don't need a read confirmation all the time, right? You may need it periodically for some pieces of articles, and other articles you may not need it. So again, you can go in and add it to the particular articles that you need it to add to. So I'm just actually just going to pop in another browser here real quick to see if I can get it working on my other page here.
Who needs software working anyway?
Yeah, that's so true. Okay. All right. So it looks like we're still having some problems.
And I guess that's the Kamala input there. Just you saw it on the breadcrumbs. It was the workflow status, the last updated. There was stats, and then it showed the status as pending.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. Whenever we go through an approval process, or any of our clients go through an approval process, what gets generated is a page activity. And so if I was to click on, for example, either the byline and click on, for example, there'd be a page activity on here, or I can go directly into here and click on workflow history in the actions of Confluence. And what it will display is the entire version history and the approval process with that versions within Confluence. Yeah. Unfortunately, we can't see it right now, but
unfortunately, we don't have internet. Who needs internet in 2021? We thought we had it worked it out. We thought we worked out internet by now, but no.
Yeah, it's just not working right now, is it? So what I will do is I just move over to my server version, and because that's locally installed on my instance, and we'll just go through the basics of approving and reviewing content and just show you what it looks like to users. And then it pretty much functions, 90% of the app functions exactly the same way. So that's the nice thing about it. So we'll go back. I still have the same spaces, my cloud and my server version or DC version have the same names, same page names. So as I was mentioning earlier here, Michael, so when I do make an edit, I'll go in, I'll update this and say, great update for Michael. And I'll publish that update. And as soon as I update that, you'll notice that we have a view called in progress. And that's the name of my state, or the phase of my workflow that the workflow will transition to when the page has been updated. And so what will happen is I'll click on that particular byline, and now what opens up is our workflow UI. And the workflow UI, you'll see here that I can click on approve, reject, or more importantly, as an author, I would want to add a reviewer. And there's multiple ways to add reviewers. One is I can click on this add reviewer button, and it will take me to a list that I can search for users. These are just assignees that were remembered because they were previously assigned to this document. But I can also search for other users as well in my instance, my Confluence instance as well. So what that basically does is it lets me goes in and I can search for users. Now, some of our customers ask, well, I don't always want my users to go in and search for users. And what I want to do is I want them to be pre-assigned. So I want them to be hard coded. So when the authors have created a page, those assignees have automatically been assigned, and they would automatically get their email notifications.
Yeah.
And so we can actually configure that directly in Confluence as well. So if I want to go ahead and add, for example, the user by the name of L, I'll assign her and I'll say, please update, or sorry, I'll say, please approve the page. And then I'll assign that to her. And so what happens is you'll notice that the approve and reject buttons, as me, the author, get grayed out, and L's avatar actually gets placed in here as the actual reviewer. Now, as soon as I receive the email, I'll show you what the email looks like, but Elle will receive an email in her, and in the email, it'll actually state she's been assigned to review the content, and the link, and here's a link for her to go into to review it as well. Now, I will go into my other browser here that I have Elle logged into, and we'll go in and we'll do a refresh, and we'll simply, and oops, logged in as the wrong user there. So we'll just relog back out. Log in as Elle. Okay, so I've logged in as Elle now. I'll go to my space that we're dealing with, but I just received my email. And so now that I received my email, I'll just share with you what that looks like. But it states, me, Daryl, because I was the author, assigned the approval review. That's the approval name to the page simple sample. And it gives Elle the notes that I left for her of what to do as well. So Elle can then click on that link that will take her directly to the page, or she can navigate to the page as well. And she can then click on the in progress byline, which will open up the workflow UI. And she can now either approve or reject this. And if she approves it, well, the workflow will move to or transition to the approved state. If she rejects it, it'll stay in the current state, and it will inform myself as to why she rejected it. And she will put in some comments here to why she rejected that. But I'm going to say, oh, looks great. And I'll approve that by Elle. And so Elle's now approved it. And as I mentioned earlier, we create this activity report for every single page that gets created. And that activity report follows this page. So as long as the page doesn't get deleted in Confluence, every single time it gets edited, the new version gets created in Confluence, and it retains all this great information that for your approvals. And what's nice is that when you're going through a compliance, and if you need to, for auditors, they love this information because they can see exactly, okay, Elle went in, she approved at this time, she the page was created at this time, and where it's currently sitting, and when was that last edited.
Yeah, that's great.
So this follows the entire approval process and every edit on this page as well. Not only do we supply this particular information on the page level for the approvals, but let's say I want to see at a holistic view, hey, what are all my statuses of all my pages? Because all my senior vice president wants to know what the status is of a certain page and where it's sitting. Well, I can go into the document report that's listed on the left pane of Confluence here, and basically I can see all my different pages in the space and what status they're in and who's it currently sitting on and for example, if there's read confirmation, what exact status the read confirmation is in as well. So this is great to again to give a holistic view. Obviously, I don't have a lot of pages in this space, but if we take a look at one of my other spaces here and we run the report, it really does tell you, you can see everything at one single click, what your statuses of all your pages are. And you can also filter off this information as well.
Yeah, and I think, yeah, for your average organization, the amount of documentation that gets produced and the different sort of categories that documentation fits in, whether it's super significant, public facing, legally liable, et cetera, versus it's just an internal discussion document. Yeah, this is a really good way to be able to get a sense and get control around your documentation. Because I think a lot of organisations don't realise as well that, yeah, they end up publishing a lot of stuff, but they also end up with duplicates and triplicates and the wrong version, and things get outdated and people are looking at the wrong things. And I think, with a stronger view about what is the correct information around here,
Exactly.
is such a powerful thing. Do you want to just maybe put a disclaimer around the workflow engine? So, one of the beauties of Atlassian is Jira and the power of the workflows, and you can put it in all the validators and things like that. But yeah, we don't quite have that capability here, but it's really just, it's slimmed down a bit just to be able to support document management. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, definitely. And a lot of our customers who have Jira, they're looking for that same ability in Confluence, and it doesn't exist, right? So that's where Kamala Document Management really rose from, and those workflows can be designed the way your people are wanting to. And there's two different ways of creating these workflows. So just so you are aware, the workflows itself are, again, as I mentioned, assigned at the space level. And so you need to be a space administrator to be able to go in and edit these workflows. And so when I go into space tools with a user that has the permissions to do so, you can go in and click on document management, and then click on, in the cloud, you'll click on content tools, and then your document management window will open up. And as I mentioned, out of the box, you get 3 workflows that come out of the box. Your basic approval workflow, your content expiry workflow, and your QMS workflow. And so when you're going in and designing the workflows or editing the workflows, again, what we typically recommend is just take one of those templated workflows, and if you need to add a little bit more or configure it a little bit more, all you need to do is go in and edit the workflow by clicking on the edit button, and simply just using our workflow builder, which is probably the easiest way to configure these workflows. Now, in the cloud, you can use JSON to also do some extra additional configuration and customizations. But again, because it's a cloud app, a lot of people don't like going in and utilizing that function. So we built this builder that allows for users to actually go in and design a workflow based on what their requirements are, just by simply clicking and dragging and dropping what they need. So you can go in and you can see that I can, if I need to rename something, or if I need to add a state, I can go in and click on these items, and I can modify these items. The middle of the page is our working area, and then the left panel is the actual, the middle of the page is your navigation, and the left panel is our actual working area. And so if I need to modify something, well, I can click on the in progress state or phase, and I can go in and simply click on either if I need to modify the approval, or if I need to modify, for example, the transitions. I can modify any of that information. So if I want to go in and modify this approval, well, the approvals actually have 3 elements to them. The approval, when you're building out the workflow, the things to think about is who can be assigned to approve. Well, can anyone go in and approve it? Sometimes yes, but most likely not. Can I limit who wants to or needs to approve it? Sure. I can limit that, and I can just simply go in and choose basically the same way as we did go in and assign someone earlier. I can add that function and go in and really just go in and allow people to be assigned through the UI. Or I can set these users and allow these users to be set directly in the workflow. So as I mentioned earlier, if you need to go in and add someone directly to the workflow, I can do that. So then if I want to add, for example, Adam and perhaps L, well, now both of these users will automatically be assigned, and they will be notified every single time this workflow is utilized on the space, and it goes into the in progress status. Now, as I mentioned, you don't necessarily have to have just users. You can also assign groups as well. So if I want to go in and add, for example, that group, that SME group, that group that knows the content inside and out, well, that group, the SME group, will be assigned, and all the users, let's say there's 5 users that's assigned to that SME group, every user will be notified that they've been assigned to review. But you can say, well, I want a fast track approval. I can say, well, I only need one of those individuals to approve it to transition that to the next state called approved. So that's our fast track approval, and that can be configured by just limiting or just adding that one individual or the fast track approval to your workflow. So as soon as I've modified that, I can apply that, and now I've modified my workflow. And so now if I want to say, for example, not only do I need to modify the approval, but I want to modify the transition as well. Well, I can modify the transition, and transition is basically where does your workflow move to once it's approved or once it's rejected. And so if I want to say, well, I need to transition this on rejection to the in progress state, well, then I can set that to the in progress state. So this is where the movement of your workflow from one state or one phase to another really comes into play. And again, this is just a really simple view. And if I take another example, for example, the QMS workflow, you'll see here that it has a lot more layers to it. And so I can go in and I can modify how the workflow moves and changes. And for example, if I want to set an expiry date on here on the publish date and say, I need this to expire after 11 months, I can hit apply. And now that I've set an expiry date, now I just need to modify my transition. So rather than having an approval there, I'm going to remove that, and I'm going to say on update or on expired, it's going to automatically go to the obsolete state and inform the author when it moves to obsolete. So now you'll see the arrow or the transition move, and that's, again, once I save that, that will save the workflow transitions for myself. So that's how you can start editing and configuring these workflows to help match to your business requirements.
Yeah, it's interesting as you're looking at the making things go obsolete. I'm just thinking in my mind, it's probably good policy for an organization to say that every published document expires. And it's then really about what is the time frame that you want that document to be either updated, reviewed, or deleted, because it's going to age. It's going to age. Yeah.
And the beauty about Comalatech Document Management is that, it just doesn't expire, right? Because it's great to have your pages expire. Well, what does it do after that? Well, it needs to start notifying people, right? So you notify the author or perhaps a document owner that, hey, this document is no longer valid and you need to re-review it.
Yeah, and potentially remove it from circulation, so unpublish it.
Exactly.
That's great.
So, yeah, so that's really Comala Document Management in a nutshell. We have, as I mentioned, there's the ability to add read confirmations. Now, the other aspect to this is with knowledge bases. And so we actually have an app called Comala Publishing. And so what Comala Publishing allows you to do is it will take your content, and it actually, in essence, what you do is you're creating two spaces. And that's because you want your internal contributors and your internal editors to be able to go into your draft space. But your published content lives externally, perhaps to anonymous users, or just to your read-only users within your own organization. And so what it does, it will actually go, once it's published or approved, it will automatically sync to your published space. So you'll notice that I have a Vancouver published space as well. And all that content gets replicated into this space, the Vancouver published space. And again, this is great for manuals or great for knowledge bases where you're looking for that distinct area of a controlled environment and an environment where people can view and view the last published content as well. And the beauty about this is that once it's approved, it automatically syncs with Comala Document Management, because it triggers, it fires off of Comala Document Management that it's approved, and it will automatically sync to your published space. So if I go back, you'll see here's my Vancouver published space. And if I go back to my Vancouver space and click on the simple sample page, and if I can publish this on its own, or I can use a publishing app as well. So if I go to my knowledge base article, and you'll see here it's currently in the draft space, but I'm going to go ahead and get both Milo and Adam to approve it. So I'll log out as L and I'll log in as Adam. And so we'll now get Adam to approve it. And when we go into that space, we'll see that we have the option, once it's approved, this uses our username and password. So in this case, I'm signed in. This is our e-signature functionality. So our e-signature functionality is great as well, because for compliance, you definitely need to make sure you have that second factor authentication. So when your users are approving it, not only do they need to approve it, but they need to ensure that it's actually them who are approving it. So the e-signature functionality works with, can work in the cloud with a two-factor authentication. A two-factor authentication could be anything like Google Authenticator, Microsoft Authenticator, or even one of our other integrations that we did with Inweebo. Inweebo is just a leading authenticator that adds a little bit more security as well. So I can go in and I can, in this case for a server, I'm using just username and password for the author, and they can now approve it and send for approval. And once that's approved, and it goes to the editor-in-chief. The editor-in-chief in this case is Adam. So Adam needs to, again, supply his username and password for the final approval. Looks great, and approve that. And now, tells me that I put in my wrong credentials.
You.
And so now it's approved, and we'll see that the content has been published, and it is part of my published space as well. If I go into my published space, we'll see that article there as well. And so this is an area where my view-only users or my anonymous users have access to read the last the published article. But anyone who needs to edit the article or needs to contribute to it will go to the draft space and make the edits here.
Yeah, that's great. So you can form your content, again, with complete confidence that nothing is going to be published and accessible to end users unless it's gone through the process.
Exactly.
Which is, yeah, obviously highly required. I was going to say, just thanks very much so far, Daryl. This is great to see, this particular app and how it works in Confluence. If we've got a couple of minutes, you guys have got another app, and to be honest, I love it, but you've got to be a bit of a geek, I think, which is the Canvas. Do you reckon you can quickly show us Kamala Canvas?
Unfortunately, I don't have it in my instance.
Oh.
So I just don't. Canvas, or sorry, did you say Canvas for Jira or Canvas for Confluence? Jira, yeah. Unfortunately, I just don't have Canvas for Jira installed in my ecosystem here.
It's a surprise question, but yeah, for the viewers, what's Kamala Canvas Jira for Jira? It's basically, what is it? A two-dimensional issue filter. So you're familiar with your agile boards, being able to sort things, I guess, horizontally? Whereas Canvas allows you to sort both horizontally and vertically, which just allows for an amazing way to visualize your Jira tickets.
Yeah, exactly, and it's just a different way. It adds a lot of flavor to your plain Kanban board. Yeah. Right. So you can design your boards and you can add your issues just in a different way, which is really nice and really great to visually view, as you mentioned there, Michael.
Yeah, and I think, to a large extent these days, that's what it is. It's about being able to visualize your work. Because there's all these different learning modalities. Most people are visual learners as opposed to, audio and kinesthetic and all that type of thing. And if you can display the information in a visual way so someone can actually make some sense of it, it goes a long way to be able to allow you to make good decisions if you can visualize your work better.
Exactly. And if I and again, it's found on the marketplace, so I can go to the marketplace here, and I can search for Canvas, and what will update or pop up is Kamala Canvas. And again, we have one for we have Canvas for Jira, and we have Canvas for Confluence as well. And it's also available in the cloud or in the in server or data center as well. And again, all it does, it gives you that ability to create your boards the way you want to design them.
Yeah, so for those listening, you can see it looks like a Kanban board, but on the left-hand side, as we go down vertically, instead of a swim lane on a typical agile board, this is looking at the field, the custom field or a default field or a field in the Jira ticket, and it's the same across the top. So you can set it so it's just looking at fields, not necessarily the status. So you can basically map your tickets in a way that allows you to customize how they're sorted and really show you the most important bits and pieces. So yeah, if you've got lots of custom fields and you want a different way to be able to look at your work, I can't recommend this one highly enough. Difference, because yeah, we're used to looking at things as status, next, but it's actually not necessarily a status that you want to be looking at. You want to look at, like they've got here, you might want to look at an individual, an assignee, or a reporter, its criticalness. It might be any custom field, a severity that allows you just to form your own view of that work. So I'm a big fan of this one, to be honest. But again, it's like a lot of people aren't aware, it's like, oh, I can, have a Kanban board, but I can move in different dimensions, not just from left to right. I can move up and down. It's like, wow.
Exactly. No, that's a good point. That's a great point. You're not just going through your swim lanes. You're going through, which way you want to go through in terms of up and down, vertically or horizontally, right? So.
Yeah, and again, it's a Kanban board, so you just drag and drop, and it'll update the fields. Yeah. So, yeah, exciting stuff. All right, well, I guess maybe that's something for the geeks, but if you're looking at a lot of Jira tickets, check this one out as well. And all right, so anything else that you'd like to add, Daryl?
No, that was everything. Thank you, Michael. I really do appreciate everyone's time. Again, we really do pride ourselves on our support and our ability to help people out. So if anyone does come across any questions that they may have, feel free to reach out to me directly, Daryl@Comalatech.com, or you can always reach our support@Comalatech.com as well. We're always here to help, and if need be, jump on a quick call to resolve any issues or just answer some questions as well.
Yeah, it sounds good. And look, in design industry's got a great relationship with Comalatech. I think we met in person. I think it was 2014, something like that. And been just a great working relationship ever since. And so thank you very much, Daryl, for telling us about document publication. And we just had a quick look at some ways we can sort some issues in Jira, and I think that's been really useful, and hopefully our audience enjoys it. So
for sure. Well, again, Michael, thank you so much for allowing us to contribute today. Comalatech really does appreciate your time and everyone else's time as well, and I appreciate your team's efforts as well to coordinate everything.
Thanks very much. And I'm coming to Vancouver. Not sure when, but I'm sold on the photos. It looks awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Cheers.
All right. Cheers. Have a good one. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks.
Bye for now.